All right, I wanted to give a little update here of my Roth IRA. I hit a I hit the $10,000 milestone here today, and a lot quicker than I expected, to be honest. Before I started my Roth, and I was kind of like thinking and planning about what strategy I would be using inside of my Roth IRA. I thought I thought maybe I would be lucky to see 40% per year. Well, here we are, just a couple months later, and the Roth is already up over 43%, completely blew my expectations out of the water. And it's just really awesome to see. And then actually I have it over here. If I had been invested in the S&P 500 in the same time frame here, since I opened my Roth account, I would only be up a little over 5.5%. So I'm really quite pleased to see the performance so far. And yeah, it's just been incredible, just blowing my expectations out of the water. And now that I hit 10,000 going forward, I'm thinking I'll do probably probably a little less risk in the strategy, honestly, because what I have been doing is I've been selling contracts on like volatile companies that are at the money or sometimes even in the money, trying to get like at least 2% per week on my capital. Well, you always want to be only selling these contracts on companies you're kind of confident in, and as of right now, most of them have run up quite a bit. So I also don't really want to play a higher price than I feel comfortable playing. You don't want to chase the price higher. So with less with less opportunities out there now, and um, now that I'm up pretty nice, I'll probably lower the risk here into the end of the year and maybe even do contracts a month out and 10% out of the money. And instead of pushing over 10% a month inside of here, I might settle down to 3% per month. And I mean, with the market sitting at the all-time highs and stuff, I get a little bit of cold feet now jumping into these plays on the volatile stocks because if that market comes down one week hard, these volatile stocks are coming down harder. But you can see here, I was quite lucky again. Been lucky with most of my plays. I sold these Celsius puts on Monday, and I mean, they were currently in the money when I sold them. Celsius stock was below $30 and headed down. But I mean, I just felt $30 would be the spot that people are going to jump in. And I guess this time I was right. And this time it worked out. So yeah, Celsius jumped up nice here. Took the puts I sold out of the money. And this was like a more aggressive in the money play because I wanted to see $10,000 this week if it was possible. And it happened. The markets gave it to us. I'm really happy to see that. Um, so one thing I would say is I love trading my Roth because I have kind of this set plan, and I mean, I have the other trading accounts, but I'm managing them daily. Every day I'm like, should I close this? Should I not? And sometimes I'm closing them, and they run like crazy, but I love trading in the Roth because I have this plan. I open the contracts, and then I just stick to them. I just let them expire worthless. In fact, the only time I didn't let the contract expire worthless, it was when I did this SQQQ, and I realized, hey, maybe this wasn't the smartest to throw your whole position in triple leveraged QQQ inverse, just going against the market, triple leveraged. And I mean, I would have only made $180 if I didn't get assigned. In fact, now I'm kind of curious on where SQQQ is now because I would have been buying at 750 a share. So yeah, it wouldn't really be worth it. I would be able to sell calls, of course, but Celsius was sitting close to 30. I was willing to buy Celsius at 30. So I just decided to go with that instead. Um, but yeah, a lot of these stocks I like my favorite stock here, SoFi, is really ran up now above 860. And I mean, I only like buying this one below $7. My average costs in my other accounts, one of them is a 676 on 300 shares, and the other one is 703 on about 1,400 shares. So I really don't want my Roth to be in SoFi at 860, but I was thinking I would go like monthly contracts now with much lower rates. In fact, I threw some on my watch list here because SoFi reports earnings here at the end of October, I believe. So I threw these contracts on here. Um, and I might be taking these if SoFi dips a little bit here in the next couple weeks, but I'm definitely gonna probably be transitioning to lower risk here. And I think one last thing I wanted to touch up on here is just so my I started trading last year in 2023. Very end of March is when I started trading these options, and I lost, I lost, I lost it all. I lost everything I put in that year, blew it all. And then in 2024, well, in 2023, I felt like I knew kind of what I needed to do, and I was just not doing it. I was just shooting for get rich overnight plays, and it didn't work out for me. But I kind of felt I knew what I needed to do, so I kind of started 2024 in that mindset, and I just did what I felt I needed to do, and I mean it's been taken off this year in a couple of my accounts here. But yeah, one thing. So I read a book in January, and it kind of emphasized how the market's random and how it's going to be an impossible strategy to predict it long term because you're not really like you don't really know what any stock's going to be at tomorrow. You're not really predicting it. You're just getting lucky. Wow, I just noticed this on the where it says gold 3% in the top. When I move my phone, the little line in there moves. I just discovered that. Anyways, so back to the book. So ever since I read that, it got me thinking, well, how do you make money in a random environment? Like, is there really a way? And I mean, a lot of people say there's not, but I mean, I figured if you're selling if you're selling out of the money contracts and the stock moves randomly, then it's like just as likely the stock goes further from your strike than it goes towards your strike, right? So I was thinking if I'm just always selling these out of the money contracts, collecting premiums, and maybe half the time they're getting assigned and half the time they're not. But then when they're getting assigned, I just sell contracts at a higher price than I got them. Then I'm just kind of letting the randomness play out and I'm just kind of making money on the randomness. I mean, I've never been caught though. Like I've only been doing this a couple months, so I don't have the horror stories of like say I sold this Celsius $30 put and instead of Celsius jumping up 12% today, it tanked 12%, you know. That would be unfortunate, but yeah, if the market's random, I say just come up with a plan where you can say where if someone asks you, what do you hope the market does tomorrow? And you can say, don't know, don't care, you know? You could come up with because I'll either be buying shares of a company I expect may rise in the future, or I'll be collecting money on the premium sold. So I don't really know. I didn't really know if I was going to get assigned on these shares this week or not. And I also didn't care because I would be happy to hold the shares, and I'm happy collecting the money. Always happy to get paid. So come up with a strategy where you can say to someone that you don't know what the market will do and you don't care. And that's how I see someone having the most success. That's at least how I've had the most success this year is by taking the trades where I can just not care about what happens, and whatever happens, I'll be all right. And then, yeah, that leaves that leaves a lot of the bad emotions out that can get you in some real trouble. But anyways, yep, Roth hit 10,000 today for the first time ever. Um, I mean, hopefully, hopefully I'm not hitting it again because I dipped way below, but I'll probably be lowering risk now in the future because opportunities are trying up and the market's at like all-time highs. And so who knows, with an election around the corner and stuff, I've never really traded in an environment like this and rate cuts in the middle of a bull market. So it'll be interesting what the next couple months have, and I'm definitely gonna try and play more cautious here now. I've got the returns I got the returns in a couple months that I expected in a year, so there's no reason to keep chasing this really high risk right now while I'm also not the most confident in the market stability going forward here in the near future. And yeah, um, thanks to whoever watched. I hope maybe you learned something from. I don't know. I probably didn't teach shit, but yep. Have a great day.